This conference will now be recorded.
Today, let us start off with one more very important topic of Java, and this is the base for Java to understand remaining topics. So let us enter into Java object-oriented programming. This will take totally 5 days for us, 5 classes. What is this object-oriented programming? Is OOP stands for object-oriented programming. So in this object-oriented programming, we'll be learning about how to create a class, how to create objects of the class, and how to access members of class using object. This reference, constructors, static keyword, packages, inheritance, polymorphism, final keyword, inner classes, access modifiers, abstract classes, interfaces, encapsulation. Like this, we'll be learning all these topics. Very important one. So if you are good with this object oriented, understanding remaining topics of Java will be easy for us. Let us start off with the first term, class. How to define a class is like a class is a collection of data members and methods. What makes a class? It is a collection of data members and methods. Like example, how to create a class in Java is by using a keyword class and the name of the class. Like example, employee. Open and close curly braces means where the class begins and where it ends, which is collection of our data members. Here we go with some data members like int employee number, print employee name, double employee salary. So what we are doing, we have how to create a class here by using a keyword class. How to create a class in Java by using a keyword class and the name of the class. Here we go with some data members like employee number, employee name, and salary. Then we go with methods like void set employee details. So whenever we call the method set employee details, set employee details, we want to give the value to the data member, some code inside. Then let us take one more method, void display employee details. Display employee details, where we go with some code inside. How to remember the case sensitivity? How to remember the case sensitivity of data members, that means variables and methods. Remember the case sensitivity is, how to remember the case sensitivity is, when you go with the variables or methods, how to remember is first letter of first word is small and the remaining words first letter is capital. First letter of first word is small and the remaining words first letter is capital. This is the standard of Java coding standards. It's not a syntax.
We can
So when you are
can you
writing
call
code
it
on
camel case, right?
yeah, SFS.
We can call it camel case, right?
But what is the need of scanner class here?
I'm saying like we can call as camel case, like
Yeah,
for
yes, camel. Yeah, right. Yeah, camel casing. What we call it as camel casing. Right. Now, when you go with classes, the standard is first letter of every word is capital. So here employ only one word, E is capital. So what is a class here? How to define a class? A class is a collection of some data members and methods. Now, once we create the class, if I want to access these members outside of class like this, employee number equal to some value, this will go with error. This goes with what? Error. So we cannot access these members outside directly. Then how to access these members outside means by using object, by going with what? Object. How to define an object is like an instance of a class is called as object. Instance means like which occupies some memory space, a name given to the object. How to create object? Creating objects. To create objects, already we know. What is the syntax of creating object? We go with the class name, object name equal to new. We have to use the keyword new and class name. Since classes comes under reference data type, to allocate memory, we have to use what? New keyword here. Like example, what is the name of the class we have created above? Employee. So go with the name of the class. Then some object name A equal to new employee. In this, A is an object of class employee. Once we create object, this is the major point required today. The members of class, when we say members, it can be your data members or it can be your methods. The members of the class are accessed using objects with the dot operator. The members of class are accessed using objects with dot operator. So in our case, what is the object name? A. So here we have to say the object name A dot. Now we can give value to employee number. By using object with the dot operator, we can give value to name. Since name is of type string, the value should be in double quotes. By using object, we can even call set employee details. One more important point. Whenever we create an object of a class, don't assume that it will execute the code present in methods. It won't go to the methods automatically when you create object of your class. When it goes to the methods, only when we invoke the method using object explicitly like this. By using object, when you call the method, then only it will go to the method, the code in the method will get executed. So remember this point. Now, let us understand all this using
One
program.
quick question.
SFS.
Excuse me. Sorry for interruption.
No problem. No problem.
Right here, can we call that if you go later off, it's going to be more easier to ask the question. So can we call that object is a part of class?
Object is a part of class. We can say
Or
it's like class is like a data type. Class is like what? Data type. Object is like variable.
data type?
Class is like data type. Object is like variable. Class does not occupy any memory, whereas object occupies memory. Like simple example, if I take a class student, if I take a class student, office is an object of class student. You are an object which occupies some space. The real
So
entities are objects. The generic names are classes here.
okay, so
Okay.
isn't the same thing like as I'm saying like so object is a part of class.
Right. We can say collection of related objects. You can say class.
So again, like I'm trying to really get this concept. So so since a student is a part of a class, right? So since like a object is a certain part of a
I
class,
cannot say
right?
it's like a part actually. We cannot say it's a part. Exactly. To
Okay.
say, we cannot say it's a part. It's of type M class. An object is of type a class. So if you say int n, can we say n is a part of integer? No. It's a type of integer. Similar way, object is an type of class employee. Object is like a which occupies the memory space, which is a variable, which is what? A variable. This class is
Okay.
like a data type, which type it is, which type it belongs. So we cannot say exactly it's a part of it.
Okay.
Okay,
So okay. Okay.
right? So I want to allocate some memory space. If I want to store some data into a variable, do we need to allocate memory for that variable? right? We have to allocate memory. The name what we give to that memory space that we call variable. So object is
Right.
also like a variable only. It's also like a variable. And what type of data you are storing in that variable means a class type. So in this example, E occupies memory, and what type of data we can store in that employee type. We can store employee details in that. Got it?
Okay.
Okay. So we cannot say it's a part. Part means like if it's say car and engine. Car is a part. Engine is a part of car.
That is right.
The relationships are different. That relationships I'll be explaining when we come to the inheritance topic.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. That's fine. That's fine. Thank you.
Let us understand this with the program. I'm going with the program name as employee test.java. Open Eclipse. Right click on project and say new class employee test. Main method inside. In this, let us create a class employee. We are creating a class employee with the data members employee number, string employee name, double employee salary. Now we want to give value to this data members. How to do? We are going with a method void set employee details. Set employee details. In this, whenever you call the method set employee details, we'll give the value to employee number as 111, employee name with some name. Since name is of type string, the value should go in double quotes. Employee salary, some 8,000. Let us take a method display employee details. Whenever we call the method display employee details, we'll display the value of data members like employee number, the value of employee number, employee name, the value of employee name, employee salary, the value of employee salary. Right? So what is a class? It's a collection of some data members and methods. Now, once we create the class, to run the Java program, which method is required inside the class? Main method, right? Then, can we include this main method in class employee? Is there any issue? No. In Java, multiple classes can have main methods, no problem in Java. But writing main method in employee class is not suggested. Writing main method in employee class is not suggested. I'm not saying that it's an error. It's not suggested. The reason behind that is, in your project, if you are creating hundreds of classes, and in every class, if you go with main method, then it creates ambiguity, confusion between the developers that which is the main class, which is the entry class. That confusion will occur between the developers. That is the reason the class in which you manage some data, try to avoid writing main method. I'm not saying that we should not write, try to avoid writing main method. In reality, what we do, we create one test class or main class like this, and in that we go with main method. In this main method, we create objects of other classes. That is a suggested programming. What are the words I said? It's only suggestion, not the rules. No. So including main method in employee class is not suggested. Now, when we run the program, it comes to main method of employee test. Then in this main method of employee test, we create object of employee class like this. Employee E1 equal to new employee. And by using object, we'll call the method display employee details. So by using object E1, when you call the method display employee details, then what values it is going to display for number, name, and salary? What values it is going to display?
It is going to provide that.
Z.
Go ahead. Should provide like 111 RAS and 8,000, right?
Yeah. Any other answer? Any other answer? Anyone? Any other answer? Very, very important. I just now mentioned.
Should
Whenever
provide
we
this
create an object,
employee
yes, please. Yes,
yeah,
Uday.
yeah, it should provide the s out values, whatever the
Yeah,
employee
what
number
value it's
and
going to print? What value it's going
Yeah.
to print for member name and salary?
For now, I think it will display the null value and zero for employee number and name
Right,
value.
right. Yeah, it goes with what? Default values. We should not say these values because after creating object, did we call this set method? Yes, Avis?
No,
After creating object, did we call set method? No. So just now I mentioned, when you create object of class, will it enter into these methods automatically? No. Until you call, it won't go. So did we call set method? No.
No,
But we are
okay,
calling
okay.
display method directly. Then what values it is going to take here? It is going to take the default values. So in the Java basics first day, I have explained about default values. I have given the table also. So employee number is of what type? Integer. So what is the default value for integer? 0. No value. If there is no value to your data member, it goes with the default values. So since employee number is of type integer, 0. Employee name string reference type. For all reference type means classes. For all reference type, null. Employee salary double, integer, double 0.0. So the very important point for today's class is, whenever we create an object of a class, whenever we create a new object for a class, it's going to allocate new memory for your data members. It's going to allocate new memory for your data members, referred with object name like this: e1 dot employee number, e1 dot employee name, and e1 dot employee salary. Once it allocates new memory, the values in this memory will be default values. For integer 0, for string reference type null, and for salary double 0.0. This is the major point today. See, let me document these parts. Please mute everyone. When a new object is created for a class, then it allocates new memory for all data members of the class, and the values in data members. The values in data members are default values, but it contains default values. What is this default value? Let me elaborate. Let me write once again about default values. Or integral type like int, byte, short, int, long, the default value is 0. For floating types like float, double, the default value is 0.0. For character, a single space. For Boolean, false. And for reference type like string, default value is what? Null. Clear this point, all of you, everyone? This point? Right? This is the major point of today's class. Now, let us go back to the program. After creating object of employee, let us call the method e1.setEmployeeDetails. Now we are calling the method. When you call e1.set method, it will go to this set method and it's going to give value to the data members. Now see, when you call display method, we get the result like employee number 111, employee name Raj, salary 8,000. Now let us create one more object, employee e2 equal to new employee. Now by using this object, if you call the method display again, so when you call e2.display method, then what values it is going to display for number, name and salary now? What values it is going to display for
So
number, name
what?
and
So now
yeah,
it's
default.
gonna display the number it's given.
what value I've given? These
So
values.
we have, right.
But after creating object E2, did you call set method? Using E2 object, did you call set method?
No, we did
No.
not.
Then what values it's going to give now?
So default value.
Very good. That's it. Simple blind rule today. Whenever we create new object, your thinking should go to default values. Okay. See here. It's going with what? Default values. Clear this point, all of you? Got it, everyone?
Yes.
Now, by using object E2, let us call the method set employee details now. Then what will be the output now? See here. For E1, 111 Raj 8000. For E2 also 111 Raj 8000. Now, understand carefully. Whenever we say object means a real-time entity, means a real employee. In this example, we have created 2 employees. If you see the result, is both employees taking same data including employee number in this example? Yes, right? Both the employees are taking same data including employee number. But at least they should differ with employee number. But in our program, how many objects you create, and when you call set method, it is going to give same data to all employees, which is not correct way of writing the codes. So why it is giving same data to all employees is we have directly assigned the values to the data members. So when we assign the values directly to data members, this type of coding we call hard coded data. This type of coding what we call hard coded data. Try to avoid using hard coded data. How to avoid hard coding? How to avoid this hard coding is by sending the data to the method. When you are calling the method, by sending data to the method in the form of arguments like this. The data what you require for even, you pass here, like 111, employee number, the name and salary. Similar way, when you call e2.set method, pass the data 222, the name and salary. Now, when you call set method and when we pass some argument values, we should able to store these values into arguments here like this. Go with arguments here, int envo, string ename and double salary. Now, what is going to happen? This 111 will go and store into envo variable. Raj will come and store into ename variable. 8000 will go and store into salary variable. Similar way, when you call e2.set method. Now what we should do, instead of 111, we have to replace with the variable envo for this ename and for this salary. So how to avoid hard coding is by sending data to the method in the form of arguments. So see, when we run, it is no more called hard coding now. Now when we run this program now, you get different data for your objects. See here 111 and 222. So how to avoid hard coding? By sending data to the method in the form of arguments. So this type of coding is important when you are going with object oriented. Now, one more last point here. Whatever the name we have taken for our data members, we want to use the same spellings for our arguments also, like this. Same spellings. Employee number, employee name, and employee salary. What we are doing? Whatever the name, we have taken. Whatever the name we have taken for our data members, we want to use the same spellings for our arguments also. Then here what I have to replace? Employee number, employee name and employee salary. Now what is the result? See, observe here, what is the result? We are getting default values. The reason is, understand carefully. When we pass this 111 to this employee number, It's going to allocate memory for employee number. It allocates memory for employee number and the value is what? 111. Then you are assigning this employee number here. So you are assigning that employee number to employee number. So what is going to happen? The value will come and store into the same space only. The values are not going to the data members here. Simple words, n equal to n. The value of n you are storing into n only. So whatever the value you are storing into this argument, you are giving that argument value to same employee number. So it will come and store into in its own memory, like local variable. It's not going to data members. Then the solution for this one is when the data member names and argument names are same, then how to differentiate is by using a keyword this. By using what keyword? This. This means current object. This means what? Current object means if E1 is calling set method, this will be replaced with E1. If E2 calling set method, this will be replaced with E2. So now see if we get the correct results. What is the next topic here? This reference. Very simple one. In the next program, you will only say about this keyword. This refers to the current object. This reference is generally used to differentiate data members of a class and arguments of a method when the names are same. If the names are different, then you need not worry about this keyword. Got it, everyone? Any questions? Right? So
Do you
please
mind to
practice.
could
Yeah,
could
yes,
you
sir.
mind to could you mind to repeat that this reference again?
Yeah, simple. This reference is very, very simple. See, the spellings you have to observe only the spellings here. Whatever the spellings we have taken for our data members, when we use the same spellings for arguments also, then in that case we use this keyword to differentiate. That's it. Simple blind rule. Nothing else than this.
I,
If
I
the name
meant to I meant to get that a passing value, like how it coming by passing value, like you know what I mean, like whenever passing the
comes here,
value, how it is changing the value,
how it is changing is you are passing 111 to employee number. So
right?
what's the value of this variable now? 111. You are
Right.
assigning this value employee number to this start employee number. When I say this, which refers to this memory. Object.
Okay.
It refers to object memory. Then it will come to this object memory, this one. And here, this value will be replaced with what? 111. So this memory, argument memory is different. Object memory is different. Both are different memories here. Okay. This is
Okay.
related to objects. Arguments are related to local variables. Local variables means which are declared inside a method only, and they are allowed to access only within the method. Data members are allowed to access complete method, complete
Okay.
class, not complete class.
Okay.
Now, let me ask a quick question now. Whenever we create new object for a class, what values are given to the data members?
Default values.
Very good. It goes with what? Default values. Now, the objective now is whenever we create new object for a class, we don't want to go with the default values. We want to go with our own values. In this example, you are going with your own values when you call set method. But objective now is when we create object only, we want to go with our own values. When I create object only, we want to go with our own values. We don't want to go with the default values. In that case, we make use of a concept called as constructors. In this case, we go for constructors. Let me elaborate. If you take a class sample, if you go with two data members like I and J, Outside of class, if you create object of class, then by using object, if you print the value of int, SOP means system.out.println. By using object, if you print the value of int, what value it's going to display for us? What values it's going to print? No value means default, right? No value means what? Default. Now the objective is we want to make I value as 10, j value as 20. When I create object only, we want to make I as 10 and j as 20. How to do is, inside the class, we have to create a method. Inside the class, we have to create a method whose name is same as class name. Inside the class, we have to create a method whose name is same as class name. And here we write I equal to 10, j equal to 20. And this method whose name is same as class name, this method we call constructor. Now, when you say sample s equal to new sample, means we are referring to this constructor. We are referring to this constructor. Then this method will get executed. The value of I will become 10, j will become 20. Now, when you print ij, it's going to print 10, 20. So, how to define a constructor is, a constructor is a special method. A constructor is what? It's a special method whose name is same as the class name. A constructor is what? It's a special method whose name is same as the class name. Use it to initialize the object. Use it to initialize the object. The meaning of initialize the object means giving values to the data members, and does not return anything, not even void. For a constructor, we should not go with any return type. If you take a method whose name is same as class name but goes with a return type like void, if it is going with a return type, then this is not a constructor. We should not call it as constructor, an ordinary method. Call it as what? An ordinary method. One more point. In Java, objects are created using constructors. In Java, we create objects using what? Constructors. Let me elaborate more on this with the example. Constructor demo 1. I'll be keep on using all the concepts, whatever we are discussing today, I'll be keep on using so many times. Then the discussion, whatever we have done, it will become nothing for you finally. It will be like ABCs for you finally. Like simple example to say, everyone clear with scanner class now? Everyone clear with scanner class? How to use scanner class? First day when we discussed scanner class, we feel something complex, something difficult to understand. But now scanner is nothing for us. Similar way, whatever the discussion I'm doing today, that will become nothing for us tomorrow. Like that, every day will be like that only. Whatever we discuss today, something confusion, but as we do so many examples, it will become simple for us. Okay, but only the thing is, you need to practice compulsory every day, and you have to do the assignments. If you do assignments, the things will become simple. Let us go with this example. Right click on project and say new class constructor demo 1. In this, let us take a class sample with 2 data members. Now we want to give value to the data members, so we use a constructor, and even constructor can take arguments. Constructor also can go with arguments. Now if you observe, is the data member names and argument names are same?
Yes.
Yes. Then how to differentiate?
This
That's it.
this dot.
Okay, this dot I equal to I, this dot j equal to j. That's it. That's about this keyword. Let us take a method display. Whenever we call display, we'll print I equal to the value of I, then space j equal to the value of j. Coming to main method, we create object of sample class. The constructor will pass the arguments 10, 20. So what is going to happen now? This 10, 20 will come and store into this arguments ij, which are giving to the data members. Now if you call the method s.display, the output will be I equal to 10, j equal to 20. A simple example code. Simple example code about constructor. So this only we call constructor here. Got it everyone? Any question? Please recap. Okay. Let us take one more concept here. Very important one. Points on constructors. If a class does not contain a constructor, if a class does not contain a constructor, Java creates a default constructor. A class does not contain a constructor, Java creates what? A default constructor. The meaning of default constructor is no arguments constructor. Argument constructor. Like example, if you take a class sample and inside the class, if you are not creating any constructor, Java creates for you like this. Java is going to create for you like this. So this only we call default constructor added implicitly. Added implicitly. Let me prove these words. Let me prove these words for you. To prove, let me open command prompt. Here I'm going with notepad sample.java. We're having a class sample. Does it have any code inside? No code. Simple class. Now let us compile this. How to compile? Java C sample.java. After compiling, we'll get a file sample.class. We get the file sample.class. Now we want to see the profile of your class. Profile means what data members your class contains, what methods your class contains. To see the profile, we use the command java p and the name of the class. Java p and the name of the class. Now see, when we run, it's unable to recognize this command. Nothing to worry. Just we have to inform operating system, go to bin folder and take the commands. So where Java has been installed in our case, C drive, program files, Java, JDK 18, bin folder. In bin folder, you can see the commands, Java P. You can see the commands in Java P. So take this address, copy this address. Then here we have to do a small setting. Set path equal to paste address, semicolon, percentage path, percentage. Don't worry too much on this. If I compile, now if I check the Java P command, observe now properly. Here in this class sample, do you have any methods? No. But after compiling, in your class, a method got added automatically. Whose name is same class name? This method only we call default constructor. So when default constructor is created, if a class does not contain a constructor, then only Java creates a default constructor for you. Default constructor means no argument constructor. Is this point clear to everyone? Right? So very important. I'll be keep on asking this question. Now, let us understand this point with the program. Let us understand this point with the program. Constructor demo tool. If I click on project and new class, constructor demo2. In this, let us create a class item with data members int item number, string item name. So now to give value to data members, we make use of constructor item int item number, string item name. And if you observe, the data member names and argument names are same, so we differentiate using this keyword. This dot item number equal to item number, dot item name equal to item name. Let us take a method display. Whenever we call display method, we'll print the value of item number, the value of item number, item name, the value of item name. Now, coming to main method, we create object of class item. We are creating object of class item and we are passing the data like 111 and the item name monitor. 111 goes to item number, monitor goes to item name, and we are giving the value to the data members. Now by using object, if you call the method display, the output is what? Item number 111, item name monitor. Same like previous program only. Now let us create one more object. Let us create one more object. Item2 equal to new item. We are creating one more object. Now by using this object, if you call the method display, then what is the output of this program now? What is the output of this program? If you observe properly, you can easily
Error.
answer this.
It's going to be default value.
Error. Simple
Error.
answer. Some people will say default values. Some people will go with the what answer? Default values, which is wrong. So we have to say the actual answer as what here? Error.
Error.
The reason is, in your class, do you have a constructor here? Do you have a
Yes.
constructor in class? Yes. Then when a class contains constructor, will Java create a default constructor for you now?
No.
No, that is a point here. If a class does not contain a constructor only, Java creates default constructor. But in this example, already we are having a constructor. So when the class already contains constructor, will Java create default constructor? No. But you are creating object referring to default constructor. You are creating this object referring to what? Default constructor. So is this constructor present in your class? No. So if you call a method, but if the method is not present, goes with what? Error. That's the reason the suggestion point is, if a class contains parameterized constructor, the class contains parameterized constructor means argument constructor, then it is a responsibility. It is a responsibility of the programmer to create default constructor in the class. Programmer has to do this job. When? If a class contains parameterized constructor only, programmer has to create default constructor. Now you won't get any error. Now you will get the result default values. Now what is the second point here? If a class contains parameterized constructor, then it is the responsibility of the programmer to create default constructor in the class. I'll make this point much more clear to you. When we start with the topic inheritance. After inheritance, these points will be much more clear to you. I'll be recapping these points again. Clear everyone? Any questions? Right? Please recap these topics today. Then tomorrow's class will be easy for us. Let me go with the assignment. Java OOP assignments. I'll be sharing one document for complete object-oriented assignments. I'll be sharing this document to you, where you can find totally 10 programs. You can find totally 10 questions here. So out of these 10 questions for today's class, you can able to complete up to 5. So nothing rule that you have to complete all 5 today only. So in 1 or 2 days also you can complete. So for today, you try to complete at least 2 questions. Try to complete at least 2 questions. And whatever the class name I ask you to create, and whatever the data member names and method names I ask you to create, you have to create as it is with same spellings. What are the spellings I have given here? We have to go with same spellings only. Let us suppose in your project already there is a class student, then your Eclipse will go with error if you create student class. In that case, you can go with the name like student1, student2 like that, no problem. But whatever the data member names I asked, whatever the method names I asked to create, you have to do the same method names and variable names only. You cannot change the names. So these rules you have to follow from beginning only, because when we enter into the real industry, whatever the specification given to us, whatever they ask to do, we have to follow as it is. Okay, that practice lets us to from the beginning only. Try to do this one and try to submit. If you submit this object-oriented assignment, then only I can guide you properly whether you are writing the codes correctly or not. Okay. Then in tomorrow's class, we'll be going with the next one like static keyword and packages. So both the topics I'm going to complete in tomorrow's class.
A quick question. So assignment.pdf, it's going to be shared with us, right?
Right. I'll be
Okay.
sharing this. And from tomorrow, I'll be giving the solutions of previous assignments. What are the assignment I've given from beginning? We'll discuss the solutions from tomorrow. So from tomorrow, we'll be getting some more time to discuss on previous assignments. Right. Thank you all.
Thank you.